Hello, everybody, and welcome to our, we're going to go week one, lesson one of Woods Tech Online. It's Mr. Nick Mullen, if you don't recognize me. I know it's been a long time. Ha ha ha. And you're like, what am I staring at? It's my workbench in my garage. See, it's me. Hi. I didn't want to flip the camera around because we're going to pan over to what we're going to be talking about here in a minute. So, Nick Mullen, how am I supposed to do woodworking online? How is this going to work? We probably won't be doing actual woodworking online, but we're going to be talking about tools, safety, setup. We're going to be doing some sawmilling as soon as this weather clears. It's windier than heck out today, but I've got the sawmill at home. I grabbed out of Mr. Spears' barn. That is the shop sawmill, but I'm going to be sawing up some ash logs. We'll talk about how to do that. So there's plenty we can do. We may not be able to physically build over the internet, but we can build on our knowledge. Ha ha ha. Come on, that was good. But hopefully everybody's doing well. So today it's just going to be an easy intro lesson. This week we're going to talk about basically starting up your own shop. Or I'm not saying like, hey, I'm going to become a furniture maker. But I'm saying just a little, what do you need in your garage shop? Just the very basic tools in order to have a little wood shop. And you're probably saying, well, I'm not going to need a wood shop, McMullen. Well, you're going to need a drill. You're going to need a hammer. These are things that you're going to need for home ownership. Unless you become independently wealthy and you can pay somebody else to do anything, you're going to need basic tools. And what I'm going to segue into is one of the best places to do this, and the best ways to do this is flea markets, garage sales. Starting off in life, most people don't have a lot of money. So tools are expensive. To go to, a name brand tool and go buy yourself Milwaukee or Makita tools right off the bat, or a big giant joiner or planer, it's not possible. So, hand tools, all that stuff is not cheap. So garage sales, flea markets, antique stores offer a way to get tools that are really nice. You got to know what you're looking for. We're going to talk about that. And at the same time, too, if you know what you're looking for, some quality tools that they may need a little bit of work, some, TLC, but at the end of the day, you wasted a little bit of your sweat cleaning them up, getting them ready, and you saved a lot of money, which in the long run, you got more sweat than money when you first start off at this. So here we go. We're going to pan over block planes. Now, I know you're probably saying, McMullen, I never even use these in your shop. Who uses these? If you're going to get into any kind of woodworking, or even if you just a basic set of tools, you're going to want one. These are just block planes. They're just a common block plane, but you can use them to joint the edge of a board. You can surface plane a little bit with them. They're not the best, but just to plane down a surface or remove a little bit of material, they're really nice. Now, all these came from a mix of flea markets or were given to us. We had a student stop by 2 nights ago. He goes, Mr. McMullen, I'm going to buy a bottle of maple syrup from you, and I got a present for you that I got at a flea market the guy gave to me after talking about how you use old hand tools in your shop and stuff. Well, we did the social distancing thing, and this former student, I told him, hey, put it on the tailgate of my truck, I'll keep 10 feet away from you. So we're still social distancing, trust me. It wasn't like we're all hanging out. And he brought this one. These other twos came from... Actually, I think this one, my uncle was at a farm auction and said, it was in a bin of stuff I needed, and I know you like the old woodworking stuff. And this one I picked up from a garage sale, I think, for $3-4. So you can look at them. They're rusty. They've got surface rust. None of them are heavily pitted. So that's one of the first things you want to look at. Are they super heavily pitted? Like they've been out in the, and this is surface rust. When you can rub it and it smears and, leaves that orange on your finger, it's just surface. Now, if it had big pits in it, like this one here is starting to get a little bit of pitting, but it's not bad. If it had a lot of pitting, I would say, it is what it is. Second thing, look at the woodwork on it. Is any of the wood cracked? No, this one's just missing paint. These ones are in pretty good shape. The handle here, nothing's cracked. That one's missing paint. That one's actually okay shape. This one, needs a little, it doesn't look bad. Yeah, there's a crack right there, but you know what? We'll take a look at it as we pull it apart. There's a bolt that runs through here. So as long as that bolt has compression on it, it's okay. We may even be able to glue it back up. So these all have a little bit different things. This has a more service rust, a messed up handle. This one probably is in the nicest shape, but I'll tell you what I noticed on the backside with this one in a minute. So we've got 3 different block planes. They all are the same size. They all work the same way. But let's talk about now, this is where a little bit of background knowledge and a little bit of that research is going to come into play. Brands played a lot or a big role in this. It's just like today. Cadillac is supposed to be a luxury vehicle where, Toyota probably isn't known for that. Not saying that Toyota's a bad vehicle by any means. They're great vehicles. However, they're not known as a luxury vehicle. Same with tools. There's high-end tools. There's low-end tools. And so you got to kind of know, hey, is this a high-end block plane or is this, just an everyday, cheap one? Or was it something that was built in China and just sold, for junk, basically? So let's take a look at these. So the first thing we want to do is look for identifying trademarks and, things like made in the USA, forged in the USA, probably anything USA built typically is going to be pretty decent steel, because the stuff made overseas just isn't the good quality. So let's take a look at this guy here. This one is the one that I got from the student. It's called a Handyman. I've never heard of that brand. Let's see if there's any other identifying marks on it. Well, right there, it says made in the USA. So, okay, it's probably pretty decent steel. We'll take a look at the blade. And the blade's got one chip in it about dead center. Not a big deal. It can be cleaned up. But overall, this is in pretty decent shape. It's made in the USA, so I'm going to assume it's okay. It's probably decent. I don't know the name Handyman. I'm assuming this is probably something from the 60s or 70s. Just judging on just my estimate. I've done this long enough. We'll take it apart and maybe dive into a little bit more. Let's take a look at this one. This one has no identifying marks on it. Nothing there. Sometimes they have writing down here. Whoop, it does have writing. What's it say? There it is, made in the USA. So this one's also made in the USA. That's a good thing. So this is pretty decent. Now, one thing that kind of says to me, maybe it's not the best of quality, is this back piece here is painted yellow. Now, maybe, the previous owner painted it, but more than likely that came from the factory that way. And a lot of times if you see them painted, older ones, you don't see bright colors. It was blacks and blues, sometimes a little bit of red. But so yellow, I don't know. But it was made in the USA, so we're going to assume it's probably decent quality. Last one. See, there's no made in the USA. There's what looks to be a little bit of USA DER. I don't know what that, or sorry. It looks like USA DER. I'm not sure what that used to say, but I can see it was a little bit of the manufacturer. Let's look over here. Okay, nothing but there. That's a good sign. Made in USA, Fulton. Fulton made nice planes. There's a something River or Miller Falls was a great company. If you can find a Miller Falls, the top of the line Fulton was a good one. The old Stanleys are nice. Any of those brands were great. So I know this one actually probably of all of these, if I was going to take a guess, probably this one's going to be a little bit nicer, just because of that name brand. Let's take these apart real quick. We'll keep the parts together because we don't want to intermix. And we'll just take a peek, and see if there's anything else going on. So first thing I'm going to do is release that. Sometimes, we don't even have to do that screw. We'll loosen this up. We'll take the blade out along with the chipper. You can see here there's a chipper on the back side of the blade, or front side, depending on how you look at it. Oh, we got some writing here. What's that say? Handyman, made in the USA. Oh, it's a Stanley. See it at the top there? Stanley. So Stanley's a great brand. So this was their Handyman series. Hey, cool. It's a Stanley. That'll clean up nice. Just some old wood dust on the inside. We can take this apart by doing these two, and we're going to go through these and show you how to clean them all up in our next lesson. But right now we're just identifying. We just want to see, is this even worth our time? Should we just tell the guy at the flea market or the lady at the flea market, no, you keep it, So that one, hey, that's not bad. It's a Stanley. We're happy. Let's go to this next one, which, the only identifying mark we saw was the USA. So again, I'll loosen this up to see if we can't take that off. We'll take our blade off with the chipper. That's definitely been painted. Now, it looks like it's original. I'm going to look at the actual blade to see if there's any identifying marks. I don't see any identifying marks on this blade. Doesn't mean that it's bad, but I don't see anything. Now, maybe once we clean it up, I'll find some stuff. But right now, I'm not seeing anything to identify this. So we got to assume this could be, just about anything. Maybe once we start cleaning it up, we can find some more identifying marks. But right now, I don't really see too much. But we know it's made in the USA, so it's probably decent quality for its age. We'll move on to the Fulton. We know it's a Fulton, but let's just inspect to make sure this is going to be worth our time as well. Well, that guy's a little hard to undo with one hand. So he's been around the block. Everything looks good, no chips. A little bit deeper rust there, but hey, that's okay. We can clean that up. We know it's a Fulton. And then the backside, very clean. Minimal wire wheeling. Yeah, this guy's in great shape too. Let's take a peek at the blade. Well, looks like they were chipping away. You can see some chips there on the left-hand side of the screen. That's okay. We can grind those out, or sharpen them out, I should say. And again, that's just dust inside there. So let's just kind of review. We've looked at all these. None of them have any big pits for rusting. That's great. All of them came apart pretty easily. That's good. If they were really rusted, they'd be hard to take apart. Every single one of these is made in the USA, so we know we got probably pretty decent quality. So it's worth our time to fix them up. We'll know a little bit more on the quality. I can tell you the Fulton will sharpen up really nice. The Stanley will probably sharpen up pretty decent. Whatever this guy is, we'll look for some more identifying marks. He probably, since he's made in the USA there, I'm assuming he's probably a Stanley with just no markings, but we don't know. In fact, if you kind of look at these two, besides the handyman part, I mean, look at the castings. I mean, they're pretty much identical. A little bit different there on the blade. This one has a round over here. This one's square. But I'm willing to guess that this was probably also a Stanley. But we're going to find out. We'll clean them all up. So this one I know will sharpen up well. This one will probably sharpen pretty decently. This one's going to hold an edge better. The Fultons were decent. This guy, I'm assuming he's a Stanley too, but we don't know, and we'll find out. We'll sharpen them up. If the blade doesn't really want to hold an edge or it's just sharpening really bad, and we'll talk about what to look for when we go to sharpen next lesson. There's ways to tell if it's cheap when it starts to sharpen. Everything will sharpen, but steel that's a high quality, good high carbon steel sharpens much differently than a cheap piece of steel. And we're going to talk about what to look for. So we found these three. Do I need three to start a shop or my tool collection? No. Maybe you want to collect hand planes. I mean, some people collect old tools. I like the older hand planes, again, better quality than the new stuff. But I'm not going to have, more than probably one of these size planes. There's no reason for it. I've got a couple that are longer for actually joining, but these guys here just are nice little utility planes. So that being said, you see anything like this at the flea market and you're willing to start want to start your shop up, this would be perfect. Every one of these is a good candidate for a little bit of restoration. I'm not going to go crazy on my restoration. We're not going to spend, like you've probably seen some of the YouTube videos where they tear it apart and basically rebuild it from scratch. Those are awesome videos, but we're not going to do that. We want to get it up and running, clean it up so it looks nice. Like this here with the paint missing, I'm not going to repaint that. I'm going to probably put some, oil on it and call it a day. I'm not going to repaint the handle. Maybe if it was a really nice, like Miller Falls, I would or something. But for these guys, we're just going to clean them up the best, we can. We'll wire wheel everything down. We'll scotch pad, the sides a little bit and use some steel wool, some steel polish. But for the most part, it's just going to be basic cleanup, like a heavy-duty scrub with a toothbrush and some soapy water. Get them dry because these are cast iron. They will rust. We'll we'll wax the beds on these, the bases. We'll make sure that they're flat. That'll be the next thing we're going to look at. But, I mean, very rarely do you ever find anything warped on these because that would be a bad casting. It's cast iron. It doesn't typically warp. We don't see any visible cracks or anything. So every one of these is a good candidate to buy. If I was at a flea market and saying, hey, I need to pick up a hand plane to start my shop, every one of these would be a good purchase, in my opinion. So with that being said, a few things here. First of all, if you have any questions on what we talked about, you can email me. Also, remember, the best way to get a hold of me and the way I'm going to conduct my office hours for now is through Remind. You can text me and Remind, message me and Remind. There's ways to do video calls and so forth through it. But, sorry, heard a big vehicle outside. I'm like, what the heck is that? But for now, yeah, Remind's going to be the best way. You'll see the link in this lesson. We'll post some questions about what we're looking for with this. You don't, if you want to respond to them in an email or even message me and remind, that's fine. There's no work due with this lesson. On the next one, we will have some work for you on it. But yeah, just this is going to be interesting as we move forward. Forgive me, I'm not the best videographer on these. I'm trying to do videos as much as I can. I just don't want to give you worksheets or tell you, hey, go to this website and see what you think. I want this to be me talking. And you know me, I can talk forever and a day. I mean, I've been talking now for 15 minutes. I mean, I guess that's maybe creepy because I'm the only one here. So am I technically talking to myself? We won't know. Oh, well. And yeah, so bear with me if you got comments or ideas of, hey, McMullen, somebody messaged me on YouTube and said, hey, can you show how to sharpen chisels? We're going to talk about that. Don't worry. But if you think about it and say, hey, McMullen, what are your thoughts on this? I'll be happy to do a lesson on it. Hey, McMullen, I want to get a hammer. Do you have any thoughts on hammers? I am open to any idea. If you guys have something that you want to learn about, message me. If we can make it into a lesson, let's do it. I'm full of woodworking, metalworking knowledge, whatever you need. I can help you. Couple things real quick. Kids and students, I should say, students have been asking, hey, McMullen, can I get my project? Can I get my gear? Can I get this? Can I get this from school? Unless it's food or a Chromebook, the answer is no. Stay home, stay safe. You shouldn't be traveling for any reason other than food or, medical, basically. We will get you your stuff. We'll get you your projects. We'll take care of fees. We'll do all that once it's safe to do so. But right now, it's not risking your life or somebody else's for a piece of oak or pine or whatever it is. I know it's like, well, McMullen, I worked really hard. I know. Everybody worked really hard on their projects. We'll get back to normal. Just, you need to be patient. It'll happen. So make sure you're staying home and staying safe. And again, if you got any questions at all, shoot me an email. Take care.